And hello again, everyone. Welcome into another season of Panther Pride right here on TV 24 as we'll talk Wellborn football each and every week with you right here on TV 24. I'm Mickey Shadricks, joined by Wellborn head coach Jeff Smith. And Coach, before we even get into football, let's just talk about the show, and glad to be back for another season of Panther Pride.
I'm glad to be here. I think this our 5th or 6th year that we've done this right here, and I'm glad to be here. And we get up mighty early to do this, but that's okay.
All right, well, Coach, you started your season off last Thursday night in a very unique season opening game.
Oh,
you played at JSU against a great North Jackson team. We talked during the broadcast about the marquee muscle that these two names of Wellborn and North Jackson brought to the table for this game that really made it unique. Before we talk about the game itself, tell me how the game developed and how it came together.
Well, the last couple of years we played 9 regular season games, and last year we played in a fall jamboree. We played Westbrook and North Jackson played Alexandria at Westbrook. Well, we weren't going to play in the jamboree this year, and then I got to looking around, and North Jackson only played 9 regular season games, and we played 9 regular season games. So I called Coach Rose and said, look, how would you like to play game 0, a regular game? And he didn't want to come to Wellborn, and we didn't want to go to North Jackson. I said, well, if I could get Jacksonville State to allow us to play there, would you like to do that? He said, oh, yeah. So they came down, and we came over, and, we pay all the expenses, and we're going to split the gate with them 50-50. And it was, it's a great way to start football season off. It was on a Thursday night, and we were one of only 12 games played on that Thursday night, regular season games. And it was just a lot of excitement. And I think it put a good light on both schools and our communities, and both of our programs.
Well, North Jackson wound up winning the game, Coach. It was a great game.
Yes,
21-20 was the final score. Basically, an extra point, the difference in the game. This was not an easy season opening game for you, because high school football fans know the name North Jackson. Mark Rose, a former Auburn player, a real hard-nosed, classy kind of coach. I know he's probably your kind of coach.
Oh, yeah.
And he runs a program a lot like you run your program. What did you learn about your team in this game? Because even though you lost the game, I'll just say this point blank, this was a game you should have won. You had numerous opportunities to win this game. What's your takeaways from the game?
Well, we'll talk about this more too. We got a young team this year. We got a lot of 9th and 10th graders out there playing, and for them to go out there and play a team like North Jackson and play them like they did, I was very proud of them. There were some mistakes made. We made a few mistakes in the kicking game that we've got to correct, which were first game jitters and stuff like that happened. But there's a lot of positives in it, and then plus with us playing them like we did, I think the kids realize that we do have a chance to have a very good team this year, and the stuff that we've been teaching them right there, if they'll just take it and reinforce it right there, will be better.
You told me going into the game that the big challenge would be how your team would handle their physicality, because they were a big bunch. I mean, they had you outnumbered on both lines of scrimmage by a large margin. You got to be proud of how your kids stood up to that.
Oh, absolutely. Their offensive line, if you took them man for man, they probably averaged around 270, 275 pounds across the front. Defensive line was the same way. Had 2 real big linebackers that were 230 pounds plus. And, for us, again, we're a young team to go out there. And I thought on the line of scrimmage, I thought both bunches we kind of stalemated on the line of scrimmage on offense and defensive lines. And that was a big area of concern for us coming out of the spring, to fix our offensive and defensive lines. And for us to be able to do that, I'm just very proud of the effort our kids put out there.
Well, we've got all the highlights coming up of Wellborn and North Jackson. We'll take a break and continue with much more right here on our first installment of Panther Pride. And we are back on Panther Pride. Highlights from last Thursday night's season opening game at JSU Stadium. Wellborn and North Jackson. Coach, you're kicking off to the Chiefs to begin the game.
Well, number 4, 2, and 12 were their 3 best skilled athletes right there. And we kicked off, had a good kickoff, and kicked it to number 4, and they did a good job of getting the ball in a crease right there. And Then they ran the speed sweep, as you see, to number 4. Here they run number 2 here, and we have good gang tackling right there, and got a lot of people on the ball. What I love watching our players is the enthusiasm that they're showing. Here, our opening play of the game right here was we ran a sweep out here with Javion Thomas, and we had a great run. And boy, I tell you, our sideline coaches and the players on the field were so excited. Here, we have Jamarian Curry right here, runs the trap play for us right here, and has a big gain. That was just the second play of the game too. And then we came back here with our double handoff right here, the third play right here, and broke it. And that's Javion Thomas with a good score right there. And of course, we had very good blocking out on the perimeter and out there in the field. Here, Jet comes through here on the A-gap stunt and slows him down enough right here for Javion and Jamarian here to make a good sack here. And again, I love the enthusiasm. Here, their number 2 right here, you know, makes a good run here, and we're fortunate there. He tripped himself up, but we had Calvin Spinks right there who was fisting to make a good play on him. And here is Keontae Curry making a good tackle, and the guys I just mentioned, both of them, Calvin and Keontae, are freshmen. They tried a screen pass right here, and Kid stayed at home right here, and we stopped it there. Now they come up here and throw a fade, and right here, again, this is a freshman. Calvin Spinks knocks that ball loose right there against a very good receiver right there, and we hold on at 6-0. Here we fake our double handoff right there, and Jet keeps it right there and does a good job of covering the ball up right when he's getting tackled right there, and gets us in positive territory. And then we come back here with a blast play right here, and Javion has a good run with good blocking right there, and gets a good score for us again. Again, the enthusiasm that this team's got is just so infectious. And here we ran our double handoff here for a 2-point play, and we go up on them 14-0. They come back here, and they ran a play that they got in a formation that we wasn't expecting right here, and the player cut it back, and we had over pursued the ball right there, and he made a good score. That number 2 for them, I don't know his name, but he was a good player for them last year, and of course he's back. They got the ball again, and he makes another good run. Very good running back. Here, I think this is going to be their second score, that number 4. That's such a good receiver there, and they just ran a go route right there, and we kind of bit up a little bit, and he got by us, and the halftime score ended up being 14-14.
And really, their 2 scores, they hit you on 2 big plays.
Big plays.
You told me last week that they like to throw those fade patterns.
Yes.
And they executed them well.
Well, their number 4 that they got, he's a receiver that's deceiving. You look at him and say, well, you know, we can cover him and everything, but the films that we had on him from the year before, he caught everything they threw at him. And then when we went to they played their spring game against Albertville, he caught everything that they threw to him against Albertville. So his speed was deceiving. He was faster than what we thought, and of course he had great hands, and you know, a very good player.
You mentioned in our open how young your team is this
Yes.
year. You only have, I think, 3 seniors?
Well, we got 10 seniors,
10 seniors
10
and 3
seniors on the team, yes. And we got 13 juniors and seniors, but then we have 29 freshmen and sophomores. And then defensively, we started 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores, and then our offensive line has 4 sophomores on it.
You mentioned in our interview with you after the game that one of the things you want to see develop is the younger kids and the older kids gelling and developing some chemistry. And I got to thinking about that later because, you know, there's a big difference between being 17 years old
and 14.
And 14.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
Well, see, like when they were coming up in, like, say, their little leagues in junior high, our juniors and seniors were in the team above our freshmen and sophomores. So all these years they've kind of played separated. And now what we're having to do this year, which is the ticket to our success this year, is going to have these juniors and seniors mesh with these freshmen and sophomores and put them together and them get used to each other and running plays with each other. I mean, there's certain plays that I run with just the freshmen in there than I would with the seniors in there because the freshmen are used to each other, and the seniors, you put a senior with a freshman, the timing's off right now.
All right, well, we've got second half highlights still to come here on Panther Pride, but as we go to break, let's listen in to the Wellborn High School Marching Band from their performance at JSU Stadium. Time to roll into the second half now. North Jackson kicking off to you, Coach. 14-14, great first half, and it's going to be just as good a second half.
Well, and again, we got a freshman, Calvin Spinks, come up and have a good return right there. Takes a good lick on the sideline, pops straight up. Come back here, and Kid Harris, the senior running back right here, has a nice run to start the first play off second half. We hit the trap play with Jamire Curry up the middle. It was a really good play. And then here, you know, this was we had a holding on to the ball good and everything, and the boy just come up and hit the ball. And if you watch right here, Kid is one that fumbled it, but he's also one that ran the play down and made a good tackle here. You know, it's turned the game a little bit here. Again, they're doing a formation in some plays that we were not expecting when they came out like that. Now here, we did expect this right here, and again, they're number 4, just as he ran inside right there, and we was trying to honor him, and number 3 got behind us right there, and again, he caught the ball over a freshman, but that's going to happen. You know, we just got to keep working him, and he'll keep getting better. Here we had a good run right here. Javion Thomas here on the double handoff. They come up, have a good run right here. But look, if you see, look at number 8, number 12 right there, giving chase right there, and we have a good tackle made down the 19-yard line. And now we really showed what we were capable of doing here. They get the ball down here, they're inside the 10-yard line, and we're fixing to have an outstanding stop. If you see right here, Jet comes up, shoots that gap, and makes a good tackle right there. That put them in, you know, a longer situation here. We have a good sack right here. They ended up calling that intentional grounding. That was Javion Walker and Keontae Curry, who's a freshman too, giving chase. Here, they throw the ball up right here, and look at Kid Harris. What an interception he reached up there and made right there for us. And after having that turnover there, and then he gets a turnover. We come back right here, and we ran a misdirection play, and Jet keeps it, and there he goes. Made an outstanding run right here, just barely got him by the ankle here, and we get the ball. We have the ball on the 4-yard line. Run it in here. Javion scores a touchdown for us, and now the score is 21-20. We go for 2 right here, and had decent blocking, but you know, we came up inches short right there, as you can see right there. Now, but still, we still got about 9-10 minutes left in the game. Here we have a good pressure, good sack right there. That's a Monte Tice, who's a sophomore, came in, made a good tackle there. Again, here there's Jet on a tackle there, Calvin on tackle. Contreras was right there, and those all 3 kids I mentioned there are again freshmen. Here, that was the last play right here, and had a little bit of a high ball here and didn't come up with it. They took a knee right here. Both teams showed a lot of class. Coach Rose, a great coach. Have played for the state championship at North Jackson and won one at North Jackson, and I just got a lot of respect for him right there, and I really appreciate him bringing his team down and letting us compete with him this first ball game.
And there you see your final. Only 1 point separating North Jackson and Wellborn. This was one of those type games that you hate to see either team lose, especially considering the opportunities that you had. But, you know, the Kid Harris fumble there to start the third quarter to me was a huge swing, because if you go down and score to start the second half, you seize momentum. But to me, him coming back down and making that tackle says a whole lot more about that kid than the fumble.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he could have sat there on his knees and, oh, woe's me that I just fumbled a football, but he got up and ran the kid down and made the tackle right there, and we got to live for another day when he did that. And, you know, we got some on our team this year. It's unique because we have 13 juniors and seniors, that's it, 29 freshmen and sophomore on the team. But we've got some very high character kids on our team that are so enjoyable to be around in practice. I'm looking forward to practice. I'm looking forward to Monday getting back out there and correcting these mistakes and getting ready for our next opponent.
You see these guys every day. You see them in the weight room. You see them at practice. But there's nothing like seeing them under the lights against a team in a different color jersey.
Absolutely.
What did you learn about your guys that maybe you didn't know from this first game?
Well, I don't know if I learned anything new about them, because these freshmen and sophomores, you know, my son's a freshman, and I have watched these little old boys since they were 5 and 6 years old come up, and I know what they've got to them. And you know, I'm proud of how they played. I'm proud of how they played against a team like that. You know, that number 4 is the receiver. He's a senior. Number 12 is a junior, and that number 2 is a senior, and a senior that, you know, is going to be up for a 4A All-State is for a running back. So for them to compete against them in that tremendous offensive and defensive line that North Jackson had, I was just so proud of how they played.
Well, speaking of your players, coming up in our next segment, we're going to look at our individual player awards from the North Jackson game and talk about some of the players who had outstanding games last Thursday night. We'll have that and a look ahead to this week's matchup with Sacs as we continue here on Panther Pride. You know, this show could not be possible without our sponsors, and one of those is Wise Environmental Solutions. They're in Oxford. They're a leader in the field of enhanced waste collection and resource recovery services. Wise offers a variety of services for residential, business, and government customers, including portable restrooms and restroom trailers for special events or construction sites. Wise also offers dumpster rental services when you need some extra capacity for home remodeling, yard projects, and more. Wise even offers tent rentals for weddings, corporate events, or parties, and all rental services include professional delivery and pickup and setup and takedown. All rentals are clean and well maintained and available at reasonable prices. You can call the number on your screen or visit their website and find out more. Proudly serving Calhoun, Etowah, Jefferson, St. Clair, and Talladega counties. And back now with Coach Smith, and time to take a look at our individual player awards from the North Jackson game. So Coach can brag about some of your kids for a minute here.
Absolutely. Well, our scrambler was Dylan Gilbert. He is a 10th grade offensive lineman, had our highest offensive line score. Our racehorse was Javion Thomas, who rushed for almost 150 yards and had 3 touchdowns. Our headhunter was Jet Smith, who led us in tackles. That goes to the best defensive line and linebacker performance, which Jet was our Big Hog Award. Pancake Block was a freshman, Bailey Neely, who came off on a play and just flat back one of their players. The hardest hit was Logan Brooks. He came down. He's a freshman. He came down on the kickoff and really had a good hit on a guy trying to block him. Meanest Panther was Walker Hayes. That goes to our best defensive back and outside linebacker performance. 12th man award was Jet Smith. He had 5 punts and averaged a 31-yard average on that. Offensive player of the week was Javion Thomas with his his rushing performance and 3 touchdowns, and the defensive player of the week was Jet Smith.
All right, congratulations to those young men for their performance on Thursday night. And Javion had a great game.
Yes.
I think he scored every point you had in the game. And then some of those young freshmen, especially those 2 linebackers, they were just all over the field for you.
They were, you know, and Jet and Contreras they played inside linebackers when they were in the 5th grade, 5th, 6th, and then we did the same thing with them in 7th and 8th grade. Now they came up to varsity and they're playing side by side as freshmen. And man, what are they going to be like when they're juniors and seniors with all that experience? So we're looking forward to that. I'd like to mention about Jet had that bad injury last year. We played Oxford in junior high football. In the last play of the game, he dislocated and broke his ankle in 3 places. And I tell you, the Anniston Orthopedics and Dr. Vandervoort, they did an outstanding job resetting his ankle, getting him back, rehabbing him, and man, could not be any happier. You know, I don't know if they get the credit that they deserve, but boy, I tell you, they really did an outstanding job with him.
And that was evident on Thursday night with your son's performance
Absolutely.
in that game. We're going to take a break, come back, and get Coach Smith's thoughts on a huge challenge this week, the Sacs Wildcats. We'll talk about that when we come back. And we're back on our remaining moments of Panther Pride with a look ahead to this Friday night's matchup with the Sacs Wildcats. Sacs played a jamboree on Friday night against Cleburne County, so this will be their first real game against you, Coach. They come to your stadium, but boy, I tell you what, you think North Jackson was a challenge, this is going to be another challenge for you. as you take on the Sacs Wildcats. And this may be, we'll see as the year goes on because you never know till you start playing the games. But this could be the best team they've had. Talk about this challenge Friday night.
Well, they're very talented, you know, and they've got a lot of skilled players and got a lot of good overall team speed. And you know, Coach Miller and his staff, they always do a good job. And you know, I'm glad we're playing at home. You know, that always helps us because you know we play good at home. But you know, they're going to be a talented football team, and they may end up being the best team we play the entire year.
Talk about the keys to this one for you to beat them.
Well, you got to contain their speed. You know, you got to find a way to do that. They got a returning quarterback that's very good and can throw the ball down the field. So, you know, the big thing with Sacs is we've got to get out there and try to eliminate the big play, you know, because they have such big play capabilities.
All right, should be a great game on Friday night out at the Hill. Walter Wellborn playing host to the Sacs Wildcats. Coach and I will be back with you again next week here on Panther Pride for all of the highlights. Thanks for joining us for our season opening edition of the show, and we'll see you again next week right here on Panther Pride.